All right, gentlemen, lady, if there are any in the chat, welcome, welcome, welcome. This is relatively ceremonious. We have a patch drop for FBC Firebreak. They dropped a patch that addressed a lot of my main concerns. I don't know if it fixes all of it, but I know they addressed a lot of it. The biggest one, of course, being onboarding. In my last video, I talked about how much onboarding was an issue, and I sounded like a broken record because it was truly, truly one of the more awful things about FBC Firebreak, and they addressed it very quickly. I'm very happy about that. I just dropped the video like 2 days ago, like literally yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. I dropped it yesterday and they dropped a patch already, so I'm really happy to see that. And without, I don't know, further delay, I guess let's just take a look at the patch notes. So here we go. Gentlemen, shall we take a look at this? Right, so first of all, this is kind of an outline of the things that they're wanting to do going forward with FBC Firebreak. And immediately, I'm super happy about this. Improving the first hour experience, which arguably is a very important, if not probably the most important hour of getting into a new game, because it decides whether or not a player is going to stick around for much longer. The game's first hour did not provide a great experience due to a combination of things. That is very true. Some of this is down to a lack of onboarding. More about that in a bit, thank God. Explaining game systems, how to take advantage of the tools at your disposal, and a lack of clarity as to what to do in the jobs and how to work effectively. In addition, the power fantasy isn't great in the first hour of the game, as starting tier 1 weapons feel weak, and unlocking higher tier weapons requires a bit too much grinding. And I will say a few things about this once I'm done talking, like, just recapping this. We can see from the data and are seeing feedback that players who stick around and unlock more powerful tier 3 weapons and perks, playing on higher threat levels and full 3-zone job runs are having a better time. It's getting to that point, which is proving to be a struggle for many players. We are not naive and think this is all there is to it, but getting to the fun faster, giving you the nice toys quicker is critical. Huge. Big. I'm glad they understand that. We're making changes in today's patch to improve the progression. So all of that. So listen, first of all, I want to talk about the power fantasy. When you get into, this is again, something that I talked about in my previous video, the world of Control, the whole idea is a power fantasy, right? If you take a look at who you play as in the first game, in Control, you play as Jessie Faden. And she is like the quintessential power fantasy. You're flying around, you're throwing shit around, and you're like this omega cool person, just kind of doing your own thing. And you're one person against like an army, and that's the power fantasy, right? If the players aren't communicated to regarding like what the game provides at that $40 price point, it's going to be a tough sell, or it's just going to be a tough time for the player to really get into. Another thing is that I mean, I guess also like sort of going back to my first point there, we are seeing feedback that players who stick around and play on higher threat levels are having a better time. That's been my experience. I stuck around with the game, and as soon as I got to those higher threat levels, higher clearance levels, and as soon as I was able to unlock some of the different perks, and as soon as I was able to get the corruption levels going, I was just having a much better time. And getting to that point proving to be a struggle for many players. I mean, it's a new game. Of course it would. Of course it would be. That's kind of just how that is. If the onboarding is poor, it's going to be a struggle. The first thing they talk about, better onboarding. Thank fuck. You know what I mean? Thank the Lord that they're going on about better onboarding. This is just fantastic. We are working on better communication, better communicating the synergies between crisis kits and giving players much better information on what to do in the jobs and how to be more effective in doing the work that Firebreakers must do. We throw you into the deep end with little explanation. That was one of my main points in my video, is that they just throw you into the depths of the game with your dick out, and you're kind of just like, I don't know what the fuck to do, and that needs to be reworked. And as we can see, they're doing it. So some of the things that they talk about that needs to be done for better onboarding includes better readability, things like harmful conditions like being on fire and the flashing blue effect, which indicates that you entered or exited the range of your crewmates to have resonance, and a shared shield. You see, I've been playing the game and I didn't know that. So that's cool. that I found it out through a fucking patch note, but again, at least they're working on it. Objective markers are not clear enough or don't give a good enough idea of what to do. Lost assets is an example of a critical thing that is too easy to miss. The latter issue has been improved in today's patch. So this has been improved in today's patch. So I'm assuming these things will be, what's it called? Some of the better readability stuff on harmful conditions and understanding, like when you get into the resonance zone of teammate. I guess that'll help you understand. They'll address it later on anyhow. They do have other things to talk about, or they have other things that they talk about in terms of making things easier to access for new players, which is fantastic because, again, new players, dude, they just, you know, better onboarding. That's the name of the fucking game here. And at least they understand that. They also understand that speeding up progression is a huge thing. That's another thing that I talk about in my video, is that progression initially is very, very slow, and that is poor communication from the game's end to the player in regards to what the game offers. So at the very least, they understand it, that it's an issue. And of course, making jobs easier to access is another big thing. You are no longer required to play the first 2 clearance levels of each job. That's fucking huge. You, as a new player, were stuck playing clearance level 1 and 2. Clearance level 1, 5 minutes, you're done. 10 minutes, you're done. It's super short, and it's just not a fun time. I'm just glad that they're understanding of this issue and that they understand it's an issue. So another thing, new players start their experience with a full 3-zone hotfix job run. This is great communication. By starting the new players with an experience of a full 3-zone hotfix job run, say that 5 times fast, hotfix job run, hotfix job run, hotfix job run. I can say it kind of slow, but anyway, by having this as the starting experience for new players, that is humongous. I think having them start out at clearance level 3 and like understanding kind of how deep each map goes, that's good communication. It's better communication now, at least, than before in regards to letting the player know, where did your $40 go? Oh, it went to this. Okay, so this is good. This is really good. I like that. Completing the full job unlocks the next full job, and so on and so on. Completing a full job also unlocks the corruption option for that job. Previously, in order to get the corruption levels, you needed to complete all 3 clearance levels. As long as you complete the job, clearance level 1 now, you get all corruption levels, and that's really good, because as soon as you get access to corruption levels, you can now get progress should be faster, because you should be able to get different materials that you need to upgrade your perks and whatnot. Rebalancing the cost of all unlockables, that's huge. Unlockables have been kind of expensive, frankly, but again, we'll see how that goes. We have split the operational requisitions into 2. All cosmetics, sprays, and armor sets are placed in new requisitions page called expressions. Good, because having these cosmetics together with things that actually change gameplay, I didn't think that was particularly great, because it's like you're grouping up something that has no bearing on your gameplay except for, I don't know, maybe your eyes. I don't know. Also, dude, if you have a skin, that means you're a good player, right? That's what that means. Fortnite taught me that. Operational requisitions it's been renamed to essentials now, and as the name implies, contains weapons, gear, and equipment. Good. That's really good. Having that distinction between what affects gameplay versus what really doesn't is important in a game like this. Making essentials like altered augments, improvised devices, and powerful weapons easier to access. Fantastic. The end result of these changes is that you can unlock and buy gear significantly faster than before. No more needing to unlock gloves just to get a better revolver. That's huge. I thought it was super, 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 super weird that you needed to, in order to get to the next tier of things to unlock in the requisitions page, you needed to spend stuff on, what's it called? Cosmetics to get something that affects gameplay, like getting a better weapon. I didn't think that made much sense. In any case, that's kind of the general gist of what they wanted to go for. These are the specifics, not too much, but still, I imagine these are pretty heavy per point. So let's take a look at some of the economy changes. Upgrade currencies, lost assets are now okay. So we already read that. All unlockable costs have been rebalanced to better match actual player currency earnings. That's good. Players will now earn and spend lost assets at a healthier pace, enabling smoother progression and gear unlocks. Players can now start at clearance level 3. Huge, huge. Again, I can't tell you enough how like poor of an impression clearance level 1 is. for a $40 game. I think it's absurd. In any case, you get to choose that now. So there you go. To unlock the next job, you must complete a full 3-zone run at clearance level 3. So you can go straight to clearance level 3 and complete the one job and then go straight to the next job. Otherwise, you have to build your way up from clearance level 1. At the very least, if a player goes to clearance level 3, they decide it's too hard for them, they can go back to clearance level 1 and 2. And I think it is a better way to communicate to the player that way, like, there's a lot to the game. So I think that's cool. Completing a job at clearance level 3 also unlocks the corruption modifier of that job. Okay, so I was wrong before. A while ago, I said that as long as you complete a job at clearance level 1, you'd be able to unlock the corruption modifiers. Not the case. You have to complete the job at clearance level 3 to get the corruption modifier. That's cool. Again, yeah, so faster access to full job experiences and improved matchmaking and onboarding. That's huge. Dude, I could not stop talking about onboarding because the onboarding in this game is terrible. It is absolutely awful. Going to requisitions, we already kind of read that. Balancing, decrease the time it takes to build the boombox and swivel cannon, huge. Increased Hiss Trooper health and stagger threshold. Okay, that's good, I think. The Fixed Kit's wrench now does damage at every tier. I'm surprised it didn't do any damage at other tiers. Increase the health pool of powerful enemies, the ones with names. Oh, okay, so a little bit harder, but we'll see how that plays out. The stapler corrupted item is now less elusive and easier to follow. I actually have not encountered the stapler yet. Fixed missing third-person perspective, sound effects for shock enemies, fixed, okay. User interface, crisis kit. So a lot of other quality of life updates. Let's take a look at visuals and rendering. Performance improvements. Nice, I won't say no to that, that's always fun. Entering or exiting a teammate's residence, shield range no longer triggers blue screen flashes. Adding glowing highlight. Props. Okay, so we covered the main stuff about this new patch. I'm really happy that they understand what's sort of not working. Again, I'm very happy that they understand that onboarding is an issue. I'm happy that they understand that the early game grind is not ideal. So that's cool. With that, let's get into a game, shall we, of
FBC Firebreak. All right. 1 second here while I open up the game. Yes, very good.
Oh, dear God.